Next up, I'm proud to introduce Jeff Sheridan, founder and MD of Matrix Internet, which is a leading digital agency in Dublin, Ireland. Jeff started the company in 2000 and has grown it to successfully be a 32-strong team of creative professionals. They specialise in digital marketing, branding, e-commerce, software, design, web development, and the user experience. Jeff holds a business degree and has a vast experience in the digital space. He has managed over 1,000 web and IT projects across both the public and private sectors. Jeff is currently working with some leading retailers and international brands to help them create frictionless online shopping experiences and to help them to become fully omnichannel. Over to you, Jeff.
Well, hello there. Thank you, Avril, for that lovely introduction. And I'm really happy to be here with Jeff Sheridan from Matrix Internet. He's the managing director, and we've known each other a little while. But I know for you, Jeff, this is probably your first women's event, is it? Is it your first women's event?
Well, I have 3 daughters, Sam, and a wife, and a cat and a dog, and they're all female. So
Right.
you could say that I'm very comfortable in a female environment.
That's true. And I know that when yourself and myself spoke at an event, we actually had great crack. And, even male or female, I find that there's so many good people out there that are working really hard. And there might be some guys watching as well that sometimes come to our events. And I just feel, it doesn't matter if you're male or female. I think, if you're going to click with someone, you're going to click with someone. And people buy from people. And you say that as well. I know that. And I just think anyone watching today, I really hope you're enjoying the event so far, but you're going to get some little tips here now from Jeff. Jeff, tell us a little bit about what you do, what your business is.
Well, I definitely would think that I can give you, give anyone some advice, and I think that's the best thing you can do is try and help people, because having been in business a while, it's probably I've benefited from small nuggets that people have been offered to me, and I think the best thing is to be a magpie and to pick small pieces of wisdom from different people who are willing to give it.
Yeah.
And there's a saying out there that if you pick a job that you love, you'll never work a day in your life. And I definitely would say that every day I get up and I'm trying to help businesses to get on and to do better. Now, the great thing in the last year, if there is, if you can say that there has been a great thing, is that a lot of businesses have had to reinvent themselves and become very dynamic. And I think Irish businesses have really, really done well. I think Ireland has exceeded itself. Sometimes we've suffered from a lack of ambition, but in the last year, Irish businesses have been fantastic, because for a lot of people in the retail sector, basically their doors have been shut and their footfall has been taken away, which is, for some businesses, was everything. And people have had to reinvent themselves. And I've been amazed at how good Irish businesses have been. A good stat for you is that 2 years ago, 80% of all online sales in Ireland went overseas. So we were sending 80% of our online sales abroad. And the most recent study that's been done into this by .ie in late 2020 shows that over half of all online sales in Ireland are now staying on the island of Ireland. Brilliant. So I think it's about 54% from less than 20%. So that just shows you that what Irish retailers have done is they've equipped themselves, they've gotten into the e-commerce game. And that's what I would encourage everyone to do. It's a very intimidating thing. If you've been in a certain business and now all of a sudden you're being asked to get into a different channel, it can be intimidating. But what I've seen is that once you throw yourself in, most Irish people and Irish businesses have been clever enough to find their feet. And once they get into it, they realize, actually, this is not too bad. I can make mistakes, I can learn, but the tools are there. And in a lot of cases, it's difficult because it's a crowded space. But what I have seen is I've seen an awful lot of Irish retailers invest in digital with their time, with their money, with everything, but just really go 2-footed into it, learn, and be willing to accept that you're going to make a lot of mistakes along the way. But for some of them, it has meant survival. And for others, it has meant their business thriving.
Yeah, and I've seen it actually. For example, Mezzo Music Academy, they're a bricks and mortar business and they have brought their lessons online. And I even booked my daughter in for violin lessons, because the kids, she's 14 and, obviously people are at home more and they're homeschooling and stuff, but like it's just giving them something else to do except, sit in front of the laptop and do their lessons or, maybe they can't get out with their friends. So at least it's something they're learning something of value like a musical instrument or whatever. But I mean, she did really well to pivot everything online, and I've seen it, and I agree with you. I think a lot of Irish business owners have embraced this, but there are people that still find it really difficult. I think the old school type thing of they were so used to being in the shop and it was a family business for years and years or whatever. Those kind of people, I think, are finding it difficult to get to grips with technology. There are a lot of people out there who would be in business for years, maybe a bit older than me, even, or around my age. Like I'm 50 this year. So, I think that age group are finding it difficult, over 50s. I think they're finding it difficult. So,
It's very difficult because what you've said is true. We've had to digitally transform ourselves, everyone,
mm,
at a rate that's maybe 7 or 8 times the normal rate.
yeah,
People have had to change how they consume media. If they want to buy something that's not essential, they've basically had to transform themselves. So
yeah,
it's very difficult for a business that's been established to all of a sudden realize, well, there's a different game going on and I need
yeah,
to get into it. Now,
yeah,
the good news is that there are supports.
mm,
And before I get into that, I would say that in my experience, it has always worked well when a business has realized that internet sales or an e-commerce business, it's not likely to just grow itself by accident.
mm,
Some people think, I'll set up a website and maybe these sales will roll in overnight when I'm asleep, and that's usually the dream that we hear. And I've never seen it happen that way. But what I have seen is that in many traditional businesses, if you can appoint someone, and it could be a part-time staff member, it could be a younger member of the family,
mm,
it's just somebody, and if you nominate them as e-commerce champion, and you can call them whatever you want, but somebody that it's their sole responsibility and role, and they get energized, and you say to them, okay, I want you to be the champion of online sales and to push it and drive it hard within the business. When that person is in place, no matter what age, where they're from, I've seen it, the dial switch.
mm.
And that's a piece of advice that I would certainly give. It doesn't need to be a full-time person. It doesn't need to be a very expensive person. But as long as there's somebody with that hat on, sitting in the corner, pushing online, usually things happen and change.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. And I think don't underestimate the power of having someone slotted into that role. Like it's not something that's an add-on now, it's essential now. And that's what, a lot of people didn't have that role, it didn't exist. So whoever is good and savvy on that kind of platform, whether it's Instagram or Twitter or whatever it is, wherever you're getting your sales, wherever your audience are really. And that's another thing, do you find that people they set up a website and then they're like, right, great. It's
They
like the
do.
shop
They
window. It's
do.
like
And it's
now.
it's like if you set up a stall at a marketplace, it's not the guarantee. I mean, you still need people to know that you're there.
Mm,
And it was an interesting stat. I saw a survey last week from the Advertising Standards Authority, and they said that they surveyed a large swathe of Irish consumers, and that 4 out of 5 Irish consumers said that they don't trust influencers, which I thought was
wow.
interesting. But then they asked them the same question in a different way, and they said, "Well, where do you get your inspiration from?" And 80%, the same number, said, "Well, we usually go to social media to get inspired."
Yeah.
So that's two sides of the one coin, where people are saying they go to a certain place to be inspired, but maybe they don't trust it, and that's maybe a separate issue. But what it does, a regular question I get asked very, very regularly is, does that social media actually work, and does it really drive sales? And people are asking it, and I think they're hoping that I'll say no, because it may be a theory that they have, and they want me to confirm their bias against it, and I'm completely objective. But what I would say is that people are on social media.
Hmm.
4 out of 5 Irish people are on social media, and half of them use it every day. So you couldn't ignore that. The hard part is maybe trying to stand out,
Yes.
or maybe trying to find the channel that works for you. So
Yeah.
we have some companies that we work for, and maybe Instagram is really the right fit for them. It just fits their product and their clientele, or the people they're trying to get to. And for other people, Twitter is fantastic because it may be part of a discussion, and the discussion is where people are following this topic that they offer a solution for. So it's trying to find the right channel for you. But I would definitely say people are there, your customers are there. It's just trying to get the right message and catch their attention.
And do you know what? My husband is 61 and he never ordered anything online in his life, and he ordered online during the pandemic. So if he can do it, anyone can do it, right? So
There
I
you
mean,
go.
just to be aware that the demographic is getting, the age group that are using it and ordering online, they might never have done it before, but now they are. So this is a chance for you to shine online. So I know that there are supports out there. I know people, you probably know the most common one that people might be aware of, the online trading voucher, for example. So do you want to just give us a little run through of the three kind of grants that are available? Yeah.
There is a bit of a landscape out there, and it's a bit like social media. You're trying to find the grant that suits your business best. So it's always good to do the research. I know that the Design and Crafts Council of Ireland currently have a call out for businesses to go into a program that they are running, in which they are trying to bring people through a program where they may start off and give them an audit and tell them where they're at, tell them where they need to focus. And a certain amount of those people are going to go on to kind of digital improvement program.
Right.
So that's something that's coming up. I think they're calling it a digital boot camp or something like that. So the Design and Crafts Council of Ireland, if you are a design business or
there's actually a few artists and creatives in the network. Yes, they'd be watching today.
And I would definitely say there are good supports there. The trading online voucher is administered by the local enterprise office, and I think there's nearly 30 of them between the counties and cities that we have. And it's a great resource, especially for people who are looking to start off or who are in the early stages, because they will give you €2,500 as part of a trading online voucher. And there are some other supports as well for consultancy and mentoring. But what they will do is give you €2,500 for a spend. So you'd have to spend 2,750 to get 2,500 back, which is 90%. And previously they would only give you 50% back. So that's a great way. If someone hasn't sold online, I would say that's a fantastic way to get into the game for potentially a net spend of only €250.
Okay.
And the place to go there is to find your local enterprise office, make an inquiry, and the grant is called the TOV, as we call it as an acronym, but the Trading Online Voucher. Right. And that's for retailers who have 10 staff or less.
Okay. Okay, so that's one.
So if you have more than 10 staff, you go to something else.
Okay, so what would that be?
The best one right now, and probably the most generous grant-aided scheme I've seen in a long time, is called the Online Retail Scheme, or ORS. ORS.
Oh, I've seen that one. That's great. Yeah. Yeah,
and what Enterprise Ireland are trying to do, they're trying to upskill Irish retailers to compete in the international space and to find new markets. So it is only open to retailers with 10 staff or more, but the 10 staff can include part-time staff or directors, people like that. So they will give Irish retailers there have been 2 phases of it, and the round 3 is close to being announced, I hope. It hasn't been confirmed officially, but the word on the street and the rumor mill is that round 3 is upcoming. And it's very, very generous. In the last 2 schemes, they gave Irish retailers up to €40,000 to really go for it. So what they're saying to retailers is, go for it, build an online platform that's designed for the long term, and it will also cover the creation of a full strategy. It will do market research, all of these different things. So if you had 10 staff or more, and if you had some possibility to export. So this is not purely just for businesses who are going to have 90% exports. If you have some potential to export, that you will be allowed on the scheme. And obviously it is a competitive process, but as far as I know, up to 400 Irish retailers have already been given grants of up to €40,000.
Well, can I just be honest here and say I wouldn't know where to start? So let's say someone's watching today and they go, well,
Hmm.
okay, where do I start? I know that you guys in Matrix can help with this, can't you? I mean, they can actually come to you and have a chat and see if
Yeah,
that you'll help them through the process. Is that correct?
absolutely. So we have a page on our website which tries to give a very objective, transparent view of the whole scheme for the Enterprise Ireland one and the trading online as well. And what it's designed to do is to give people a guide of where to go and where to start and the criteria within.
Right.
And I think that would be a good point. And I would always encourage people to go and look. So if for the local enterprise ski or the local enterprise office, the best protocol to start off with there is to go to their website and just to find a contact, because that contact can let people know what they can avail of and what are the current rounds. But for the online retail scheme, I would say our website gives a good, so matrixinternet.ie, or if you do a search for the online retail scheme, we'll probably come up. It's a really good place to go to find out if your business may be applicable or may be suitable. And I think it would be a great place to go. And just to orientate yourself around what, so we have a Q&A section on that part of the website, and it
Right.
just really is a kind of a ready reckoner. And in 5-10 minutes, you'd know if you're the right type of business. But we've had 100% success rate. So we have 22 businesses going through that. We helped them apply. We'd be aware that anything as good and as generous as this is probably going to come with a lot of red tape and small print.
And that's where
So
I back off. Isn't it funny? And I
yeah,
know people watching today might be a little bit, I think there's a bit of fear around, well, I have around forms. And it's like, oh, do you know what? I can't be bothered. But if someone is watching today and they like you, Jeff, and they want to have a chat, like, would they be able to go through the website and contact and have a chat about it? Or,
absolutely.
yeah,
We've had lots of chats with people, and if what we've tried to do is have a chat with people and to guide them as to the best grants and schemes that are out there. If they're interested in the online retail scheme, we actually go and do all the paperwork for them. So
right.
we will. It's essentially making a business case,
Yes.
and we're aware of the different criteria of the scheme and the right things to say and the right businesses who will apply. So we can help people with all of that. And like I said, we've been really lucky, but we've a 100% success rate of getting people onto that scheme.
Yeah, and I know there are other people that do it out there, but like even just by having you here in my event is because I know that know, like, and trust is a huge thing. And I know that if people did go to you, that they would be getting a good service and, you would be able to, if they did get the grant, that obviously they could work with you and you would help them with their strategy and with all of the good stuff that they need to make sure their website is seen as well.
Mhm. Yeah, very much so. And we've had lots of half-hour conversations or 1-hour conversations with people who we knew that we wouldn't be a good fit for them, or they wouldn't be a good fit for us. But at the same time, we still advised them and told them what we found along the way,
Yeah.
what's good, what's bad, and given them good advice. And
Right.
if it goes past that, great.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, look, it's an opportunity, so you might as well go for it if you're watching today and you feel like it might be the right one for you. Is there anything else out there that you've heard about coming, or anything you've heard business owners making mistakes doing when they're applying for things, or any tips you can give the audience today?
Yeah, when you're applying for any of these things, sometimes the devil is in the detail, and we've seen people have good cases, and in some cases they. So one thing is that you have to submit accounts.
Mm,
So we've seen people apply and submit the wrong accounts or submit something that was wrong. So they didn't double check their application before it went in, and
right.
in some cases they've been refused
Right. Okay.
on a red tape issue or error, which is very
Just a
unnecessary. So
box tick.
yeah,
Yeah.
proofreading applications is always good,
Yeah.
and I would advise people to have someone who could do that, because we've had other people say, "Oh, I would have loved to be on that scheme, but I was too busy to put the form in," which I think is a terrible shame, because
Yeah.
there are big supports and big grants out there. So this kind of leans on or underlines the thing about the e-commerce champion and having someone who can
Mm,
drive this, because I understand people in business are really, really busy. So if you can have someone that's not involved in the day-to-day putting
mm,
out of fires, they can drive this, they can submit the forms, they can make the business case, and they can really push people on rather than wait until someone else is not busy, because it may not happen. And the other thing is that I'm aware that the Irish government is borrowing lots of money at the moment, and there may not be grants forever, or
yeah.
it may dry up.
Yeah. So now is the time, and I think now is the
I
time
think
to
so.
shine online, especially we don't know what's going to happen in the next few months, but there is hope and there is a ray of light with the vaccine and stuff. But I think that if you get in there now, get your website, it means that when you're shining online now, people are going to remember you. When all this is finished. So, well, thank you. Have you any other little nuggets of advice, Jeff, that you think for business owners in general? I mean, nothing to do with websites or anything, but you know, I know that you've kept working through this. I've kept working through this, and we're kind of getting the rewards now. But is there any tips you can give people? Because the theme is click refresh. It's time to soar. Is there anything that you would say to help people stand out from the rest?
Well, the one thing that I think we're really guilty of in Ireland is that we have a reputation for being great storytellers. And then when we go to have a website or a social media presence, we're a bit backward about coming forward. And
I don't like
you know,
taking my photo. I don't like my photo being taken. Yeah,
well,
yeah.
not you. I think you could probably teach us all a lesson about that. But what we have seen is that there are some Irish retailers, craftspeople, artists, and they have amazing stories. And then
Mm,
you go to their website and it's this bland version of themselves. And I often think, well, why be so shy? Because it's such a crowded space that you need to stand out. So
yeah.
the big challenge I would put out there to a lot of Irish businesses is put a story on your website that really is you
Mm, mm,
and really makes you stand out. Because in a lot of cases, I think people want to buy into a story or a heritage or something that's unusual. You know,
yes.
there are different types of products that people are selling out there, and if your product is your main argument is price, well then that's fine. But if it's anything else apart from price, then I think you really need to tell your story, because a lot of people are looking to buy something and give it as a present and then say, well, this is part of a story,
Mm,
or there's a message behind this, or there are some really good ethical values behind this brand.
yeah.
The modern customer is much more tuned into ethics and
Yes.
values. So my big recommendation is that I think people really need to tell their story in a more vivid way and not be so shy, but holding back whatever message is
And
behind their brand.
I totally agree. And I'm always encouraging my clients to do this. And I had one lady that said, well, but what about, they'll say this about me. And I'm like, who? Who said that about you? Who actually was that person? And well, nobody said it about me. I think they're afraid of what people will think or something. Look
Yeah,
at me getting above my station kind of thing. But you know what? Look, not everybody's going to like us, but your clients, that's what you care about. You care about the ones you do have, the customers you do want. They're going to love what you say.
absolutely. And we have such great stories to tell about. There are some brands we've worked a bit with the Design and Crafts Council, and there's some amazing brands
Mm,
and people with amazing stories who are crafting products or who have family heritage, and there's just so many great stories, and
mm.
it will make a difference online if they are
Yeah.
able to put themselves out there. And I understand it is a bit of a challenge to put yourself up there on a bit of a stage and to say I'm here, because I think in Ireland we may have some kind of hangovers from the past where we were a bit more shy, but I think we need to break out of that.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. So go forth and shine is what I say. And I think definitely contact Jeff if you are interested in any of the grants that he mentioned, but especially the retail one. I think that's a really good one. So it's matrix.ie. Is that right?
It's
Sorry.
matrixinternet.ie, and if anyone wants to have a chat or even just a small conversation, there may be nothing in it, but I'm always happy to give people my time.
Yeah, you
And if
are.
someone wants a small bit of advice that's nothing related to grants or whatever, they can contact us, and we should be easily found. And if we're not, I'd have to give myself a slap on the wrist. But if you Google Matrix Internet, you'll find us.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Jeff, for your time, and thanks for sharing your knowledge today.
You're very welcome. Great to talk to you, Sam.